I am live. It says I am live. So that must mean I am live. Thank you so much. Hello, friends. Welcome to yet another Tuesday episode of Timeshare Recap Live, where we cover the four most interesting topics of the timeshare industry over the past week. I think we're in week 45 this week, and we are going to cover some super awesome topics. First one going to be celebrating a milestone in the Tug BBS online forums. Second topic we're going to discuss is an ABC news story on timeshare scams. Third item we're going to talk about is Marriott not doing so hot in their quarter three earnings report that came out this week. And the last option is a brand new forum for Exploria owners. So those are the four most interesting topics, while not to say the least, all of the topics in the timeshare industry, especially on the forums, as we literally have hundreds and hundreds of them, because as we mentioned, the number one topic is the timeshare users group online forums have eclipsed 129,000 registered users. That is tens of thousands of timeshare owners that have found the most informative, educational, research laden, fact providing source of information about timeshares on the internet, and it's completely free. The Tug BBS is how Tug formed over 30 years ago. We're on our 32nd birthday, entering our 33rd year. And it all started on a small message board on Prodigy, and it has morphed into what we know today as the Tug BBS online forums, which literally has tens of thousands of owners on it 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, answering questions, any and all questions. If you have questions, we have answers, and you can get them completely free every single day on the Tug forums. I cannot thank all of the owners enough that are able to find Tug and those that stick around and help share information, answer questions, give help and advice. Completely free. Nothing is asked of you. Nothing is required of you to join and participate on the forums or to read through the, what is it? Let me go back and look how many. I want to say there are a couple other milestones we fixed. I got to scroll it over to see because it's not showing up. So our total was 309,000 threads on the forum so far, and closing in on 3 million individual messages, which is pretty awesome. As far as I'm concerned, that's a pretty impressive task. Currently, 1,788 people online, although a number of those are bots and search engine spiders, but hundreds of owners online, hundreds of people, just thousands and thousands, if not millions of posts. We're about to hit 3 million messages on the forum. Just to go back a little more history, is this version of the forum, and I will say that this registered, all of the usernames here probably only dates back to maybe 2008 or 2009. It's previously before that, the what we know is the Tug forums kind of existed as a mishmash of either a message board provided by a third-party service like Prodigy when it first started, or a couple of first instances, first generation. I don't know how many of you guys remember the late 90s and early 2000s, MyBB. What was the other one that we used? When the first bulletin board software started coming out, what we know as forums today. A lot of that software was just people just making their first efforts to provide a platform. This is all pre-Facebook. This is all stuff we take for granted for now. But a lot of those individual, I think we went through 3 different generations of MyBB. There was another V Bulletin we went through for a while. For those who remember that, unfortunately, when we finally migrated to what we have now, it didn't take a lot of the usernames from back in the early 90s and early 2000s. So this version, 129,000 registered owners, only goes back to about 2008. And so you won't find anyone on this forum registered before that. But again, roughly 500 to 1,000 new people find and register, or seem to register to participate on the forums each and every month, showing just how far the reach goes for this particular platform, and the fact that it's completely free. It is truly the number one resource on all of the internet for timeshare information. If you are a timeshare owner and you don't know about the Tug forums, you're absolutely doing yourself a disservice, as there's no timeshare question that ever goes unanswered. I've yet to see someone ask a legitimate timeshare question that didn't get an answer or multiple answers from other owners who, might not have been the first time that's been asked, might not have been the 100th time that's been asked. But this community is truly remarkable in that it is extremely selfless in offering up just an unlimited amount of help and advice for people that, again, I always like to say that the timeshare industry, buying a timeshare doesn't come with an owner's manual, and Tug is that owner's manual. I don't care if you own in Marriott. I don't care if you own in Hilton, Diamond, also Hilton now as well, Holiday Inn Club, Westin, Sheraton, Blue Green. There's a forum for each and every one of them, and I guarantee you there are hundreds, if not thousands, of owners and experts in that forum that have either know the answer to your question, have already answered that question, can provide you with the help and advice or guidance that you're looking for in how to best utilize your timeshare, whether that is buying a timeshare, whether that is selling a timeshare, whether that is exiting a timeshare, trading a timeshare, renting a timeshare. Don't care what it is. There is just an endless supply of knowledge shared completely free, an owner to owner network, and it's something I'm truly proud to be a part of, to continue on what my father started in the early 1990s, and maintain this for decades to come, as the only true source of unbiased, completely free information for timeshares on the internet. It's an absolutely unique community, and I'm proud to be a part of it. And each and every one of you should proud to be a part of it as well. So, congratulations to Tug getting 129,000 registered owners. We're hoping to crack 130,000 before the end of the year. That would be super awesome. If we could hit that, that would be a great milestone, and we really do have a decent shot of doing it. Look, we're already 195 people in. Just in the first couple days of November. So with the 500 a month, I think we'll be really, really close, and we'll have an awesome giveaway if we hit 130,000 before 2026. So if you don't know where it is, tugbbs.com. There'll be a link down in the comments and as well as the description. So you can go there. Again, register. It's completely free. And you can participate and get help and advice for your timeshare 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Going on to topic number 2. There was a story a couple weeks back about ABC did a story on timeshare scams. And I will talk about the content of that particular story, but I always go out of my way to congratulate, promote, shout from the rooftops anytime a mainstream media outlet. We're not talking about bloggers and such like that, although those people are fantastic too. But a mainstream media outlet, be it HBO, doing the John Oliver story, be it ABC, Money Magazine, the main outlets that just have millions and millions of followers that read that, doing a story that gets the word about timeshare scams out there. I don't really care if the message is perfect, as that just doesn't exist in this industry, because most reporters that are doing these stories are not timeshare owners, and are limited to what they the amount of research that they can do and the people that they talk to. So they're not going to get everything right. They're not going to get everything perfect, and that's okay. The goal in these situations is to implore, get the message out to owners that these scams are out there and they are extremely active and they are targeting you specifically. And chances are, if you're a timeshare owner, you're going to encounter one. So knowing about it up front and having the information in a mainstream media outlet, even if it just leaves a message in your head so that that, hey, this sounds a lot like that story I read. This person's calling me out of the blue with a crazy offer for someone wants to buy my timeshare or sell my timeshare, or they've got buyers lined up, or a corporation who's set to buy up all these weeks, or sell it back to the resort for more than I paid for it, or just an endless number of pitches out there that are exactly what an owner wants to hear, who's desperate to get rid of their timeshare. And it just ends up being a scam. And unfortunately, without knowing about it ahead of time, and even more unfortunately, even people that do know about it ahead of time, or that find Tug, or that have been warned, the allure that this could possibly be legitimate, that this is possibly the answer to your prayers, that this person making this offer, that there is a chance that I'm going to get this big paycheck at the end, unfortunately is enough to make people kind of overrule the common sense, or the spidey senses that are tingling, that are telling them it's a scam. But man, what if it isn't? Just what are I mean, this is really what I hope for. I'm in a bind. I need this sold, and if there's even a 1% chance that this is true, I'm going to take the shot. And unfortunately, that there's a 0% chance that these are true, and these people fork over. I want to say the article mentioned that just from the timeshare scams running in Mexico alone, it took over $300 million from American timeshare owners, or might have been timeshare owners in general, just in the course of a couple of years. That's just the operators in Mexico. They were running these scams, just cold calling people, and with these wild pitches, and collecting $500 up front, or $1,000 up front, in legitimate sounding fees, on the premise that these people were going to get that money back and then some, once the timeshare transactions completed, whatever it happened to be they were promising. So kudos to ABC for releasing this. I will say it did read a bit promotionally, as it mentioned ARDA's new website, the Timeshare Consumer Protection Center, which we talked about that a while back, but this is a new venture by ARDA, showing specifically how timeshare scams work, basically warning against exit companies. Let's just tell it what it is. The Consumer Protection Center is ARDA's answer to the exit company. Or maybe not the answer is a bad choice. It's ARDA's fight back against the exit company. Their exit companies have just completely dominated advertising space in the timeshare industry, outspending developers, outspending ARDA, outspending Tug by an order of magnitude. The amount of money spent on internet and media advertising to get people out of their timeshare, guaranteed exit for your timeshare, guaranteed solution to cancel your timeshare. And the Timeshare Consumer Protection Center was created specifically by ARDA to combat that, an attempt to counter the ridiculous ad spend that's out there and the search results that are dominated by the timeshare exit scams. Now providing a quote unquote industry resource that people can go to and get the truth about your options to exit your timeshare. Now, the downside to this, of course, is that there are still developers out there that don't provide any good options. Exploria, for instance, if you were an owner in some of these situations, yeah, it's great that I warned you against the scam, but now what are my options? How do I get out? Yes, I'm not going to use this exit company, or yes, I'm not going to engage that Mexican timeshare resale scam. But how do I get rid of my timeshare? And so that's really kind of where the rubber meets the road in the Consumer Protection Center is yes, it warns people against the scams, but it still doesn't solve their problem. People aren't falling for scams because they have an easy solution to get rid of their timeshare. People are not falling for timeshare exit or resale scams because they've worked with their developer, or they're getting great advice or great help or great information at all from their developer on what to do when it's time to no longer own my timeshare anymore. People are falling for exit and resale scams because they're desperate and they don't get any help from their developers, or the help that they get is terrible at best and just outright criminal at worst. And they just feel stuck, without any other options, or when you're given a bunch of bad options, it makes you more inclined to fall for the scams that are pitching exactly what you want to hear. I can guarantee I can get you out. Money back guarantee, 100% success rate. We've canceled 50,000 timeshares in the past year, or whatever the case may be. The story is fantastic because the owners that fall for it are owners that just don't have any better options. You reach out to your resort. Sorry, we can't help you. Reach out to your management company. Sorry, these are your options, and in some cases they even refer owners to upfront fee scammers, which is just wild to me that it still exists in this industry. So, yes, I like the Timeshare Consumer Protection Center message, the website, because it's actively its entire goal is to combat the nonsense that is spreading in this industry like wildfire on timeshare exit and timeshare cancellation. The problem is it doesn't actually solve the problem. So it's kind of like if you're in a shark infested waters and I show you a can of shark repellent, but I don't actually give it to you. I'm working on it. This is my shark repellent. It's fantastic. And when I finally come up with it, it'll be great. It'll keep all those sharks away. And you're like, hey, that's fantastic. How do I buy that? Oh, sorry. I don't really, it doesn't exist yet, but hey, don't get eaten by the sharks while we're working on it. So, owners that are desperate for help are willing to latch on to anything that promises help. And unfortunately, the industry is in a situation where there are tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of owners desperate for help in these shark infested waters that would do anything for a can of shark repellent to get them out of their timeshare, but warning them against shark repellent B while not offering any actually shark repellent at all. It's no real surprise while they're jumping over themselves to buy what these companies are selling, because they're without any. What was the comment someone made a while back? You can lead a horse to water, but can't make them drink. Or they'll drink the water even though it's sand, because they just don't know any better. There aren't any better options. It's really really a terrible situation for some owners. And I wish the industry would do more about it. I wish the industry would put forth as much effort that they do fighting the timeshare exit companies, and take that and parlay it into providing real and viable solutions for owners to get out of their timeshare when it comes time. I don't believe in universal exit, that someone can cancel at any time, meaning you bought a timeshare last year and you change your mind, I should be able to get out of it. That's a different story. But there should 100% be, every single developer out there should provide a solution for owners who have been happy owners for many years. Loans are paid off, don't owe any mortgage, in a situation where they've either aged out or medical reasons or whatever, they can't use their timeshare after a certain time. There should be 100% a solution for that owner to divest themselves of that timeshare. And I don't care how that impacts the developer. That is just something that should have been thought of, and should have been, again, the owner himself should have asked about that, or had something in writing when they bought the timeshare in the first place. But the pitches are designed to kind of gloss over that information. The fact of the matter is the industry just does not provide that for a huge percentage of owners. and thus they act surprised when these owners flock to timeshare exit companies. It's just a really, really horrible situation. And I will say, uh, I will continue to preach this until my deathbed, is that until the industry makes a concerted effort to ensure that a good percentage, or there is a solution for owners who have aged out or timed out, there, or the end of their timeshare lifetime is evident, to provide a solution for owners to exit that timeshare. And I don't care if that costs money, that's fine. But the fact of the matter is and we see the industry shifting towards that. We now see Marriott charging $400 to give back a timeshare. We see Hilton charging money to give back a timeshare. Blue Green charging 1.5 times your maintenance fees. Hilton Vacation Club or Diamond Resorts charging what, 1,500 per contract. Or so Holiday Inn Club Vacations now charging what is it, 1,250 or 1,500. So we see the developers shifting towards the pay for exit model, which is fine. I may not agree with the amounts, but at least you're giving owners an option. I call you up, hey, I don't want to own my Holiday Inn Club timeshare anymore. Sure, no problem. We'll take it back. That'll be $1,500. That is a viable answer to someone looking to get out. And it's better than I go to XYZ exit company where someone's going to charge me $7,000 to get out of my timeshare, or $10,000 or whatever the case may be. Being given this other option immediately takes that off the table. There's no way someone is going to refuse to pay $1,500 and then go to an exit company and pay $10,000. That's just absurd. This prevents exit scams from happening almost overnight. But for whatever reason, there are resorts out there like Diamond Resorts, which charges but only allows people who bought retail. They completely exclude resale buyers from using their exit program, which just 100% forces every Diamond Resorts owner who's looking to sell or get out of their timeshare almost guaranteed that they're going to if they don't find tug and learn the other options that are out there, and which is unfortunately defaulting on your timeshare, they're going to fall for an exit scam. They are 100% victims of that. Explorer is another good example. Capital Resorts used to be, but now they have an exit program where at least I think they're charging $1,500 or $2,000 per ownership to give back. But so many owners, when they call, they're just not getting the information, or getting terrible information, or being told that they flat out don't have any options. And thus, it's no surprise that the timeshare exit industry has absolutely exploded and is so popular, with just dozens and dozens of different companies out there, all promising the exact same thing, that they can guarantee you can get you out of your timeshare. And you would think that after it's been 6, 7, 8 years of this dominance, and them making millions and millions of dollars on owners desperate for a solution to get out, that only now is the industry adopting that very model and charging owners to get out. But it's still not something that a number of major developers offer to their owners, and thus I just don't know how everyone would explain it. I don't have any good explanation for why Exploria doesn't have any sort of surrender program. I don't have a good explanation for why Diamond Resorts doesn't allow resale buyers to use their surrender program to give back unwanted timeshares, because those are the people that need it most. They can't sell it, they can't give it away, and they're stuck. They are going to 100% either stop paying or pay someone to stop paying by using an exit company. Just an absolutely wild situation. So kind of a thumb up to the Timeshare Consumer Protection website, because it helps owners avoid scams. Kind of a thumbs down because it is an ARTA page, and ARTA still has not, for whatever reason, forced ARTA members, although I think Exploria might not be an ARTA member anymore. I thought I heard that somewhere, so maybe that's the case. Is not pushing, well, they are pushing, but has not accomplished universal exit. Everybody likes to use the word universal. Universal timeshare exit should be a right. And maybe we're phrasing this wrong. Maybe I need to rename the option to timeshare exit to something else. Maybe I'm onto something here, and we'll come up with that. We'll talk about that more next week. So rant off. Again, thanks to ABC for doing the story, getting the word out. Never pay upfront fees. Stupid mistake. Always results in the biggest red flag out there. And it's going to result in you losing your money. Kudos to the Timeshare Consumer Protection Center website, which at least educates owners on the truth about exit companies. Still big fat 2 thumbs down to the industry itself for not providing exit options for more of its owners. So moving on to option number 3. This is easily the most popular and most discussed, hottest topic. And I guess I'm not clicking share this tab. And sorry, I didn't have Jeremy to remind me, so I didn't share my tab. Number one comment was Marriott Vacations Worldwide third quarter sales decline and the stock tanks. If you're a Marriott owner, this is not good news. If you're a Marriott stockholder, the Marriott Vacation Club stockholder, this is really bad news. Is for whatever reason, despite and later on, probably this week, the Hilton Grand Vacations released their third quarter report, and it was sunshine and roses. They were just killing it, for lack of a better term. And so how Marriott could could mention that quarter three earnings on Wednesday reporting contract sales in this quarter declined 4% compared to the prior year period. As a result, stock went down 24% this morning to about $50 a share. And I think I saw it today. It was down in the 40s. So not good. Tours in the quarter were down 1% year over year. Sales per tour average down 5%, posted a loss of $2 million for the quarter. That's not good for when your direct opponent, which I'll call Hilton, is still setting records and hitting their marks and are not seeing this sort of decline. So this led to 9 pages, and I would admit a lot of that was people going back and forth about stock prices and mumbo jumbo about that didn't really relate to why. And I will say later on down the line, it looks like John Geller got fired. The CEO was firing, which is probably not unexpected when you see the stock tank that much and you're missing earnings reports. It would be one thing if the entire industry missed the mark, and you saw Exploria or you saw other publicly traded companies like Hilton had a similar result. Probably would have been a different story. But when your direct competitor was easily be on the same par with you, isn't seeing those sorts of declines, the heads are going to roll. The board of directors and stockholders aren't going to stand for that. And whether it's his fault or not, the CEO, like the quarterback to an NFL football team, you're losing bad. You're going to take the heat. And in this case, they fired Geller. I want to say, what was it? The CEO later on, I have to go back and look at it. Geller was CEO. He was let go. Another major executive, quote unquote, retired, and all that happened in a week, and the stock still continued to go down. That's just not good news for Marriott Vacation Club. Really, the debate was why. Why did Marriott miss the mark? Why, if they, the industry, Ardo is reporting record numbers of sales and tours and retail sales, and Hilton reporting, the steady increase in sales. And how has Marriott just missed the mark? And just there was a lot of conjecture about the Abound Points program being too expensive. Could that truly be the case? Has Marriott priced themselves out? Not so much in purchasing new, which retail sales are pretty staggering, and I would say that Marriott is in the upper end of cost in terms of buying a timeshare. However, it's really the maintenance fees. When you're looking at having to buy, $4,000, $5,000, $6,000, 6,000 Abound Points, that's multiple thousands of dollars a year in maintenance fees. And is that just is getting to the point where it's no longer the bargain vacation it once was? Yes, Marriott is brands itself as a luxury product, and Abound is supposed to be a step above and providing something like that. But it's not. You're not staying at the Four Seasons. You're not. The butlers are at the doors. These are very, very nice resorts, but we're not talking about the world class, top of the line, rolling up in Bentleys and having a little bell to ring and a little bellhop comes and answers your door. Marriott is a wonderful program. I'm a Marriott owner, but when you're talking about paying $3,000, maybe $4,000 a year in maintenance fees for the average family, is that is that just pricing itself out? Are they having less and less people able to swallow that, paying that up front each year in maintenance fees on top of the $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 you would have to pay to buy into the program if you're paying retail, and maybe 40, 50% of that buying on the resale market. But really, those maintenance fees, I could take a pretty nice vacation just about anywhere for, let's call it $3,000 a year. We'll just use that number as pulling that out of thin air. But the bigger issue is that we see, especially over the past few years, inflation has caused prices of everything to go through the roof. And when you're only talking about even single digit maintenance fee increases, well, when your maintenance fees are only $3,000, 8%, that's a lot of money. And then you have that year over year, maybe it's 5%, maybe it's 12%, maybe it's 15. That adds up, especially if you're an owner over a period of a decade. You saw your maintenance fees, rise from, a manageable and affordable $1,200, $1,300, $1,400, $1,500 a year now to double that, if not more. That's is it truly pricing, pricing people out? Time sharing is supposed to save people money. You buy this, you're buying it, quote unquote, investment. I hate to use that term, but you're investing in your vacations to take future vacations, and buying this product and buying into this product is going to supposedly lock in your prices. You're prepaying for vacations. But when you see the cost, continue to rise, I have to believe that, maybe we're actually seeing these resorts, and maybe Hilton just hasn't reached that point yet where they might still be on, a little bit lower end in terms of annual maintenance fees. Although I'm sure there are higher end points ownerships at Hilton that can reach those maintenance fee levels. But is that truly the case? You have such a staggeringly high cost to buy. You have a now a staggeringly high cost to own. Is that, are people not seeing the value of paying that, even staying at what are really, really nice, rated 9.5 and 10 out of 10 resorts? Is that really where the vacation value is when you're immediately forking over or forced to fork over $3,000 a year right off the bat, and then have to reserve your vacation? Have to fight to get the reservation you're looking for, to stay in the resort you want to go to, and plan out year in advance, or 12 months in advance or 13 months in advance. You know, maybe this is just the paradigm shift, and now this latest generation or newest generation of owners that want the flexibility, but now truly don't want to have to wait or book out 12 months. I want to go somewhere next month, and I don't want to be stuck with just the leftover garbage. I'm paying a premium to own these points, or I'm paying a premium to own the system. And there were mentions inside this story about, trying to, at least they mentioned commercial renting. They mentioned mega renters as a problem. So if Marriott is identifying this in their earnings report and in the meeting that they're having, I mean, it's clearly it's something being discussed. They did make it clear that there was no, at least in mentioning it, there was not going to be a crackdown on regular owners. You're perfectly okay to rent, your Marriott ownership and your points out, but they definitely indicated a problem where mega renters or commercial entities out there that are renting huge numbers of points out, and thus taking away the prime weeks that people who bought into their abound points are trying to book with their points, if not able to book full months out, or want to go. But it's very, very frustrating. This is just the story of all time sharing. It's very frustrating to try and go and log into your own system, reserve a week at Myrtle Beach, and see nothing available, and then be able to go see someone offering that for rent, or to see that on Interval as a getaway, or to see in any other site someone renting that out for far more than your maintenance fees. So it truly costs you more to try and rent that out. I should be able to reserve that myself. So you see growing frustrations on the member side, and through the cost. These are my guesstimates on why the sales numbers have just kind of taken a fallen off where they haven't on the Hilton side. And so we'll talk about that next week. The Hilton report, or maybe I can find it. I want to go see if I can find the Hilton report just to show. Where was that? Someone put it up there. This will probably be the one of the posts for next week. So where was it? So the earnings part, just to show where Hilton's. Look at this information. This thing reads fantastic. Contract sales up 17% to 900 million, which is a record. 302 million with margins. I actually don't know what EBITDA is. I'm sure someone got that. Someone typed that in there. Bookings per guest up 15%. Occupancy rate stable at 83%. I don't know if the occupancy went down for Marriott or not. 722,000 members at the end of the quarter. Total revenue, cost reimbursement grew 12%, 27% real estate profit. All of this is good. I mean, none of this is indicating they're in a decline. None of this is like the exact opposite of what the Marriott report said, which is just wild to me. Earnings before interest, depreciation, amortization. See, I knew someone was going to answer. Thank you so much, Claire. I probably should have looked that up before I read it, but yeah, I mean, I look at this and I'd be happy. I mean, that seems good. That seems to indicate it. Probably not taxes. Yeah, taxes. That's okay. It's this is just a stark difference to what the Marriott, and I you show Arda's reports showing they expect 2025 to be another banner year. I would expect when that state of the industry report comes out in 2026, it was showed 2025 was another record year, probably 11 plus billion in retail sales for timeshares. So how has Marriott missed the mark so much? And the conjecture on what has caused that? Was it John Geller's fault? I doubt it. But as the captain of the ship, when the ship hits a rock, your captain is responsible at the end of the day, whether or not it was his fault or not. But I'm curious to see how Marriott ends up in quarter four. Is it just an aberration? Is it just a one-time deal? The conversation on the forums didn't seem to think so. It's a lot of people predicted some ugly quarter four reports coming out for Marriott as they expect this trend to continue. I don't want to fan any flames or panic any Marriott owners. I don't think Marriott's going anywhere, and I would not expect your membership or the experience you will have as a Marriott owner to change significantly. But something's clearly happened. That's just not you know not a very very good report when the rest of the industry isn't following it. When you're the only one on decline in an industry that is breaking records year over year and expected to break records to the end of the quarter, it's just something is very very wrong in terms of how the product is sold. For me, I went back to look at it, and you know I did a stark contrast. I took this past summer, I took a vacation at Marriott Resort, a relatively small one at Harbor Lake, took my kids there, and it was perfect. It wasn't crowded. It was, the pools is full of kids and full of adults, but there were always empty seats. The resort didn't seem packed, if that makes sense. And it is a relatively small resort. So, compare that to Bonnet Creek with thousands of rooms. But then our second vacation was at Holiday Inn Club Orange Lake. And we stayed at River Island, and that resort was just slap packed. Now, River Island is obviously super, super popular, and people staying at any of the Orange Resort phases tend to drive over and stay there. But I'm sitting around looking at this as I don't enjoy myself on vacation in a pool where where there's just hundreds of people around me. Like that doesn't. I mean, what's the term I'm looking for? It doesn't make me happy. Doesn't feel like I'm on a relaxing, enjoyable, luxury excluded vacation. Like I don't, not that I don't like people. I love people, and I love watching my kids make friends and so on and so forth. But if I don't want to feel like I am in a duck race. They just dumped a whole bunch of rubber ducks in a pool, and we're all just bobbing around. It just seemed like there were, and when we went to the main resort, they had an event there that kids wanted to see the reptiles that they brought. And it was just even worse there at the main pool, and just no shade and no pools, or excuse me, no chairs, nothing was available. And it was just absolutely slap full of people. And that is not my idea of a relaxing, enjoyable, quiet resort experience. So, this wasn't obviously Marriott, but could that be the case? At some of the larger Marriotts are so many people that is visiting, and then they're just at capacity week in and week out that, I paid $3,500 a year. I paid $3,000 for maintenance fees for this. This is not my idea of a happy, quiet, relaxing vacation, which is what I was sold when I bought this product. Could that be the case? When people are just, just finding other ways to travel, finding better ways to travel. And when you get at that price point in the multi-thousands of dollars a year, VRBO stuff and Airbnb, really, really nice places like that are in your price range if you're staying for 5 or 6 or 7 days. And there's just some amazing stuff out there, and you're by yourself and you're quiet, and you can do whatever you want to do, and you're not around hundreds and hundreds of people. Maybe there are other people like me, maybe there are more people like me that I want a little more privacy, a little more peace and quiet. I personally I like the resort atmosphere, but maybe there's just a happy medium between absolutely ridiculously packed and what would appear to be 50% capacity. But for the resort side, I think 50% capacity is probably terrible for them, because they still have to pay the full amount for the resort and all the staff and all the maintenance and everything, but you're only having half the bookings versus 100% capacity. The owners hate it because there's just too many people there, and just no chairs available, and people reserving chairs, and the big fights in that. It doesn't make for an enjoyable vacation. So you tell me, what do you guys think for if you read this and go read that thread, which one do you think, what's the most likely reason that Marriott just really, really missed the mark in this past quarter? And do you expect it to go in quarter four? We'll revisit this in a couple months and see what the quarter four report comes out to, and we'll compare it to Hilton, since they both seem to release on the same week, and we'll see how they go. And see who was right. Hopefully it turns around, but all in all, I don't really expect to see a significant change in ownership. No reason to panic, no reason to get crazy just because they had one bad earnings report, but is a concern. There's got to be a reason, and hopefully we'll get the answer to that reason in the next quarterly report. So moving on to the final question, which is Exploria owners. We talked about Exploria early, and since Exploria has made it a point to give absolutely crappy advice to its owners, it's been a long time coming. I created a forum just for Exploria owners so that they can go and get the help and advice they need, get the truth about the situation. And it is not a good one for Exploria owners who want to get rid of their timeshares. Summer Bay owners getting a huge special assessments. Poconos got a massive special assessment. We're talking about $7,000 last year. So there are a ton of Exploria owners out there who are absolutely desperate to get out of their timeshare and are stuck because there's really no chance to sell an Exploria timeshare. They're all valueless on the resale market. There's a slim chance you could probably give one away, maybe if you're a Summer Bay owner or had something truly unique like a Week 52 or something like that at Poconos or something similar. But just not a good situation that Exploria owners are in. And the worst part is when they call Exploria to ask for help, Exploria actually refers them to an upfront fee resale company, which is just absolutely chaps my ass that is still a thing in 2026, that you provide your own owner with a recommendation to a trusted source that they can help them get out of their timeshare, knowing full well that person is not going to be able to sell that timeshare. And you're going to now pay someone who will tell them they can sell their timeshare and just put them further and further in the hole. So in order to combat this, we have a specific guide on owners, Exploria owners, how they can get out of their Exploria timeshare. The options that you have, they're not good ones, but it's the truth. We're here to give you the truth. Can't make your decision for you, but I can at least provide you all the information that you need to make your decision and avoid being scammed and avoid throwing away more money. But hey, it was a long time coming, and I truly hope Exploria owners will now be able to find the Tug forums and get this help information that they need 24 hours a day, free, no charge whatsoever, before they make a very, very expensive mistake. So I'm truly sorry for those of you Exploria owners who feel that you're stuck and not getting any help from Exploria. So now you have your own forum to get that information or vent to your frustration. Share it with the world. The more people that post, the more people that read it, the more people find it. And we're hoping that Exploria owners, if it saves just one person, I truly think it's worth it. So kudos to all you Exploria owners who now have a place that you can go to share information, get information, spread information, and avoid being ripped off and avoid making some really, really poor decisions on how to get out of your Exploria timeshare. So that covers all four, and we are really kind of 36 minutes. I rambled on a bit about the Timeshare Protection Agency, but it is what it is. So I appreciate each and every one of you that tuned in. Thanks so much, Claire, for tuning in. I'm sure we got some others normals on there. See a handful popping off, but that will conclude this week's episode of Timeshare Tuesday Recap Live. Tune in next Tuesday at 10 p.m. where we will cover the most important topics of the past week. We'll probably go over the Hilton report, since that was super interesting, especially when paired next to the Marriott report. But again, thank you all so much for tuning in, and I hope you guys have a wonderful, wonderful week of timeshare. Happy Veterans Day. Happy Veterans Day to my dad, U.S. Navy. Happy Veterans Day to all of our timeshare owners and Tug community members who are veterans. Thank you so much. It is winter this week in Florida. As you can see, I'm wearing my beanie. It was down in the 30s last night. Super not. Didn't sign up for this. I live in Florida. It's not supposed to be this cold, but it's what it is. I hope for all of you who are actually in significantly horrible cold weather. I saw the snow's coming down up north. Please stay warm. Please stay comfortable. Don't come visit Florida right now because it's super, super cold. Maybe go to Miami. It might be nice there. Don't come to Jacksonville. Really, really cold. But again, everyone have a wonderful evening. Everyone stay warm. Everyone stay safe. Everyone have a happy timeshare vacation. I hope it's coming up. And see you guys next week. Happy Veterans Day. Thank you so much. Good night.